What is up? Hold on, let me scroll up. What is up? Tammy, D Nice, Nikki, Tyrana, Matthew, Wendy, Joanne, how's it going? And Chris, how has everyone, what did you guys do this past weekend as we wait for people to come in? Jennifer Marie is asking, how was EDC, Lisa? It was amazing. I'm exhausted. Got to finally see one of my favorite DJs that got me into the scene because I'm a rocker chick. But this one DJ, he happened to get me into the scene, and I was able to meet him and take a picture. Lewis had the idea. He was 3 steps ahead because we couldn't get that particular stage. We couldn't get backstage, but we could get behind the stage. And he waited, and I saw Eli Brown, which is another one of my favorite DJs. But I was able to get a picture taken with Oliver Heldens. Finally got to see him as his techno alias, which is High Low. Had so much fun. Got to see Carl Cox. He's a legend. And got to see him behind stage. That man is 60 years old. I think he's 60 years old, and that guy still, he has more energy than anybody else in the crowd. And he's a legend himself. And every time I saw him the last time too, or I see him on TV as well, it looks like he's always enjoying himself. Like he's dancing, he's having a blast, and it was awesome to see him. And then I also got to see another legend. Not too much of a fan of his music, but it was an honor to be able to see him. Got to see Adam X. He's Frankie Bones' brother, so it was pretty awesome. Did a lot of walking. Got to see Lewis DJ in the Passport Lounge, which was epic in itself. Got into the Passport Lounge. If you guys aren't familiar with the Passport Lounge, it's invite only, and you don't know who's going to get invited, and they usually just send you an email for it. So there's people that could be going to Insomniac events for 20 years and not get invited into the Passport Lounge. So we were able to get in. I got to see it. So, and see Lewis play mix. So that was a plus. Got to hang out with Camp OG. It's always a blast to hang out with everyone from Camp OG. They're super awesome. They make me smile every time I go see them. So I had a blast. I'm just exhausted. I was debating of whether to go live today or not, but I hadn't been on in a while, so I was like, why not? I could talk. But I'm still exhausted. Because I think we were there and we got into the camp a day before everyone else did. So it was cool to see the camp empty. So that was like 5 days of no sleep pretty much, because they like to bump the music at 9:00 in the morning. And as always, Skeledeck, thank you, D-Dice. He's in an easy location. I'm too tired to think. So Skeledeck is somewhere in this background. Just remind me and I will reveal his location at the end of the stream, because I will forget, guys, because I forgot the last stream. Kyle, what is up? D Nice, I think I did like 20,000 steps or about each day. We did a lot of walking. Hung out mostly in the artist lounge. That was something new to us. But we hung out there. And that's where I got to see, if you guys are familiar, I got to see Eli Brown go through the security checkpoint. And I was like, because he's one of my favorite DJs. Lewis was like, "You want to take a picture with him?" I was like, "No, I don't want to. I didn't want to bother him while he was going while he was prepping for a set, or like just walking in. You know what I mean?" But, and I was like, "Lewis, that's Eli Brown." No, actually, D-Nice, my muscles are not sore. I'm just like, my body, I'm just exhausted. Like I need another nap. I think today I slept like 12 hours, but I've heard some people sleeping like 13. Some people got sick. I mean, I know last year we both got sick. Got to see some DJs walking away from their set, so that was cool too. I usually don't get starstruck, but like kind of with I don't know why, but with Eli Brown, I wasn't expecting to see him. That's probably why. And he's just walking in, going through security, and I was like, Chris Barbara, that's okay. But yeah, I did, Wendy. I lost a lot of sleep. I did. But I am here. I'm still tired. I'm probably gonna I took a lot of naps over the weekend too, but it was hot. In Vegas, it was like 90 degrees, 90, I think the hottest day was 98. And I was coming from here this whole week, I think in California was like in the 70s. So coming back, I was like, dang, I'm cold. I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm cold. Cause I was in the heat all day. I mean, I like the heat a little bit for a while. On day 2, Thursday, when I was there, I had really bad allergies. And I haven't had allergies that bad in a very long time. I mean, I kept sneezing, my nose was raw. Um, yeah, I had to walk through the entire EDC with a raw, like peeling nose. It wasn't that great looking, but now it's back to normal. But that was the only thing I had an issue with. I had really bad allergies on. It wasn't even day 1, it was day 0 when everyone was getting into camp. Tyrana goes, that's cool. I'm glad you had fun. I always have fun. I always have fun when I go to those things, but I finally got I was so excited to see one of my Hilo go on stage because I've waited so long to see him live. And I was like, oh my god, he's on stage. But I wasn't expecting to take a picture with him. I gotta post my picture with him on my socials, and I will do that when I get a chance. Still haven't posted it, but I do have a picture with him, which is kind of cool. But to start off with, I like to start off with some weird news. Not necessarily scary, but I'm going to start off with some strange and unusual news that I found kind of crazy. And I don't know if you guys heard about the rare $400 ruby glow pineapple. In the Oh, just a reminder, D Nice had dropped the link. If you guys have any stories you'd like to share, D Nice dropped my email. Could be a video, could be a TikTok, could be something strange that you saw, could be I know Anne was tagging me on some cool rubber duckies that she saw on Facebook, so it could be something like that. If you like to send me a cool story, it could be your personal own story. The email is listed. I have it right there. D Nice, it's in the chat. D Nice has dropped it. I can't even talk today. If you guys would like to share a story, an article, or a video. Matthew's going, Funko's releasing Stargate movie pops. Cool. Jennifer Murray goes, stranger than marrying a doll and having it. No, that tops it. But it goes, rare $400 ruby glow pineapple was introduced to the US this month. It's already sold out. I don't know who the F, pardon my French, would buy a $400 pineapple. I know I would not, but it's sold out. I mean, if it's $400, that thing better taste like gold and blow my mind. D Nice, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Hearts to Tyrana, Daniel, Jet, Baby Teeth, Neptune, Cat, and Honey 2800. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. I know some of you have already been in the Wolf Pack, but if you're new to the Wolf Pack, your membership is good for 1 month. So hearts to D Nice and all the new Wolf Pack members. What is up, Rooster? What's up, Daniel? And what's up, Lisa Boo? Earlier this month, Fresh Del Monte Produce announced a new hybrid fruit available in the U.S. at a jaw-dropping price of nearly $400. Like I said, if it's $400, it better taste like the best thing I've ever tasted. Like it better knock me out, type of thing. Eyes rolling in the back of my head. Wendy goes, I blame my nightmares on Lisa. Now they're sold out. Only a couple thousand ruby glow pineapples, a cross between a traditional pineapple and the Murata variety, were set to be produced this year, according to previous reporting by USA Today. Melissa's Produce, a grocer in Southern California, said it is proud to be the only distributor offering this extraordinary fruit, which I, by the way, will never try because I am never going to pay $400 for a pineapple. According to the retailer's website, the Ruby Glow pineapple was selling for the high price of $395.99 before being listed as sold out Monday afternoon. A niche market. Melissa's Produce described the Ruby Glow pineapple as a rare gem and the pinnacle of luxury fruit. Robert Schuler, director of public relations at Melissa's Produce, told CNN that the retailer started with 50 pineapples at the top of the month, but mostly sold to high-end restaurants in Las Vegas and California. Melissa Produce tried selling more than with the help of influencers. Chef Bo Corley was one of them. The food influencer highlighted the Ruby Glow online as absolutely delightful, but not worth the $400, according to CNN. Despite that, the grocery store's website listed the fruit as sold out on Monday. US Today has reached out to the store for more information. I think caricature boards this Christmas, Thanksgiving, you're going to see this Ruby Glow as a centerpiece, especially in an affluent house. Well, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to pay $400 for it. More on the Ruby Glow pineapple. The Ruby Glow pineapple was grown in Costa Rica after a 15-year development period, USA Today previously reported. As stated, the hybrid fruit takes around 2 years to grow. That might be why it costs that much. When it is matured, its fruit has a deep red outer shell, bright yellow flesh, and a distinct sweet flavor. So, guys, if you had the money, would you try the Ruby Glow pineapple? I know I wouldn't. Maybe if somebody else bought it, I would try it. Kyle goes, if I want to pay $400 plus for something tasty, I would. Never mind. Logical Spock, how's it going? Heather, whatever. What's up? Joanne goes, that's bizarre. D Nice is like, who's gonna match me? Because she has started the membership train, I guess you could say, or the super chat train. Chris Bargo's been trying to listen, but $400 for a pineapple? What is wrong with Dole? Jennifer Marie goes, no, as most things are overpriced and underwhelming. Joanne goes, no. Wendy goes, nope. Jennifer Marie goes, I'm not interested in being disappointed today. I go, if someone else bought it and they were like, hey, would you like to try a piece of my $400 bought pineapple? Then yeah, of course I'll say yeah, because I didn't have to pay for it. Heather Wetter goes, I wouldn't pay that much for C's candy bonbons, and I would much rather have those. Wendy's like, can I get a bite off your plate? I'd be saying the same thing. Tyranno's like, nope, I would not either. I mean, it sounds interesting, but not for that price. I don't even think I would try it for $20. I don't know. But we have to make friends with an affluent household. Because they said that pineapple is going to be a centerpiece at gatherings at holidays. So if anybody knows a affluent household, just let me know. Or let us know. We all want to try. Kyle goes, you shouldn't have to start a Kickstarter for produce. I agree, Kyle. I totally agree. Heather, whatever goes, it was bad enough just now to pay $5 for a little jar of mayonnaise. I mean, I heard that Target here in the United States is lowering their prices. I don't know. I don't really shop at Target, but that's what they said they're going to do. They're lowering prices on some things. I think it's because they are not making business and they're trying to entice customers, which is smart. Why not? That's the way to bring that's the way to get customers to walk through your door. So why not? Especially at a time when everything is super expensive and people are trying to penny pinch. So nothing wrong with that. Heather, whatever goes, I heard Dollar Tree will too. Unfortunately, yeah, we still have the Dollar Tree. Luckily, unfortunately, the 99-cent store, I think it shut its doors finally. I heard that, when was it? May 12th was some of the stores were closing for good. Kyle goes, inflation is ridiculous already, but here we are in 2024. I know it is. I mean, even going to state line stuff was like super expensive at state line, but they're doing that on purpose because that's how they're making their money, because that's where everyone's going to stop for gas, a bite to eat, whatnot be. So that place right there is like super expensive, even the gas. Heather, whatever goes, maybe that freak Dollar Tree out, probably. Joanne goes, so it'd be around 700 and yes, Joanne. That's still a ridiculous price for a pineapple. I agree with you, Tyrone. It is super ridiculous, but what can we do, unfortunately? I mean, it's stuff that we have to buy, so it's kind of hard. If it's something you didn't have to buy, then it'd be easier not to have to deal with it. But if it's something like necessities that you need, it's kind of hard to um um not buy it. Project Metal Music, A up! All right, guys. Do you guys? I know you guys remember Brocade, the woman who married Eduardo and allegedly said that he cheated on her. Oh, she married a ghost. Let me say, I forgot to put that, specific thing. She married a ghost named Eduardo, and she divorced him because she claimed he uh cheated on her with Marilyn Monroe, and that Marilyn Monroe was at their wedding, and she does have her wedding on her Instagram, and she also was on Yes to the Dress, believe it or not, for marrying a ghost. She is back. She has come back to haunt us once again. And I know she's been in several things, like she now claims she has psychic abilities because of her encounter with Eduardo. And then she's like a ghost hunter now, and she went to Romania or some, like, I forgot where she went, but she went somewhere like Romania or something to learn how to protect herself from ghosts like Eduardo. But she is back in the news. Jennifer Marie goes, she found a new ghost lover. Not quite, Jennifer Marie. And I agree with you. These people are crazy. I do not understand them, but I like talking about them for some odd reason, because I just cannot fathom doing it myself. Like, I do not understand like why these women do this, other than they want attention. So it goes, woman divorces ghost husband and adopts possessed clown, but ex is jealous. Brocard, 40, divorced her ghost husband Eduardo 2 years ago after accusing him of stalking and infidelity. But the Victorian soldier spirit is not happy about her new companion. It almost sounds like she's dating the possessed clown. So a woman who says she's been hitched and then ditched by a ghost has now taken in a haunted clown, causing a stir with her ghostly former flame. Brocard, age 40, tied the knot with a spirit from the Victorian era named Eduardo, but it all went pear-shaped when she had made accusations of cheating and lurking against him. So this is Brocard. If anybody wants to know what she looks like, if you ever check out her Instagram, it does say that she is an artist. So that's the only thing I can think of why she would admit to being married to a ghost, because she wants the attention and the like the free advertisement. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know what else would make this woman want to marry a ghost. And then on top of that, go off the rocker and say that he was cheating on Marilyn Monroe. But the songstress has since welcomed a spooky clown into her life. Something beeped. I don't know what it was. Into her life after filling a spark with it while bunking at the Clown Motel in Nevada. After dragging the clown doll around the States on tour, she landed back at her home in Oxfordshire, England, to determine if there were any supernatural shenanigans going on with her new partner. But Brocard reckons Eduardo is jealous over her relationship with the clown and wants it out of their shared home, reports the Daily Star. The self-styled ghost magnet stumbled upon the eerie clown while shooting for a TV show pilot, scouting out places that are rumored to be haunted. A TV show pilot? I wonder what that's going to be about. She said, Heather whatever goes, that's a double whammy ghost clown. Kyle goes, you could say she was clowning around. Chris Barber goes, someone is seriously off their meds. Joanne goes, a clown. Jeffrey Murray's like, oh, Lord. She said that Eduardo's been relaxed about her interactions with other ghosts and they don't communicate much these days. However, the ghostly figure isn't best pleased with the idea of another entity living in their home. She says, I can instantly tell when Eduardo has a point to make. His energy is very powerful. His presence has been very manageable these days, and I only see him from time to time. He does not like the clowns, though. He watches him, and I keep finding the clown by the door. Subtly, it's not Eduardo's strong point. He has nothing to be concerned about, as I have no intentions of marrying a clown ghost. Oh my God, she went there. Although that would be funny, the clown is here for research purposes only, and I definitely don't need to get into a paranormal love triangle. I know the clown is possessed, so perhaps Eduardo has picked up on some bad energy and is just looking out for me. I'm fascinated. Oh, that clown looks super cool if that's a clown. I'm fascinated by the prospects of spirit vessels and haunted objects. It's a whole new world for me. So I'm trying to learn and absorb as much as possible. That's why I've enjoyed filming this series so much, as I'm meeting people who've had fascinating ghost adventures, not unlike myself. Okay, so I guess this is the clown doll. Dude, that clown looks like it has real hands almost. What the hell? It's cool. That is super cool. What is up with her pose, man? The duck lips. What is up with the duck lips? She's like, what is she? I don't get that pose. Like when people do the duck lip pose. No. Matthew goes, bad as the poltergeist clown, and that clown is cool. This clown is cool too. I wouldn't mind having that clown. Kyle goes, what was the pickup line? Are you down to clown? Joanne goes, are those clown babies? Oh my God, Chris went there. Hey, baby, want to squeeze my big red nose? All right, this is Grayson Report After Dark. Don't mind Chris. Kyle goes, is she a new member of the insane clown posse? During a visit to the renowned Clown Motel, which is one place that is on my bucket list, I would love to go there, Brocard was immediately drawn to the clown due to their shared passion for theater and performance. Okay. All right. Most of the time, we're drawn to things because we think it's cool, right? Right? She's drawn to this clown because they have a shared experience of theater and performance. Like most of us would say, oh my God, I was drawn to this clown because it looked cool. There was something about it, right? We don't say, oh, it's because we have a love for theater. Like, really? She explained. She further revealed that the spirit trapped within the clown instantly communicated to Brocard that he was a carnival clown and that he was a tormented soul who spent his days performing for indifferent audiences who mocked him for his lack of humor. When I connect with spirits, it's often their emotions that I first tune into. Sometimes an unsettled spirit attaches itself to a physical object In this case, this clown doll had once been owned by or come into contact with a man who worked as a clown, she explained. Don't get me wrong, I think her clown looks super cool. This man was tortured by his dreams of stardom, but was condemned to life in the carnival where he was unappreciated, I supposed, as an artist. I can relate to this, so I feel that's why he chose me to convey this message. Matthew goes, ghosts like to clown around too much. Joanne goes, if you go there, you might end up leaving with one. I know I probably will. Trust me. Chris goes, this is named Krusty. Kyle goes, hey, baby, have you ever been juggalooed? Heather, whatever goes, does the clown have a choice? She drags him around. Poor clown. I didn't think of that, Heather, whatever, but I agree. Does he have a choice? Wendy goes, I always try to dust off the bad spirits. Joanne goes, he doesn't look like a ghost. It's another doll. The motel gave her permission to adopt the clown and conduct a thorough paranormal investigation, uncover more information, or even gather evidence of its possession. I felt an irresistible urge to learn more about this man, and I sensed that he wanted to be saved, she went on. The Clown Motel is a competitive environment for clowns, with hundreds of them all vying for visitors' attention. Was curious to see how he would react in different settings. At present, I only have bits and pieces of information about him, so over the next few months, I'm going to try and understand more. The Clown Motel has been widely reported as one of Nevada's most haunted spots. After spending a night alone at the motel, Brocard shared her thoughts on why this might be the case, she explained. The motel is intriguing because numerous murders have been reported on the site over the years, and many deaths have occurred under unpleasant circumstances. It's believed that there are dark forces at work in that area as it's located near a portal. And it's also located near a cemetery. There's also a graveyard, which now she explains, across the car park. So it's not exactly the cheeriest of places, hence the clowns. It's thought that many of the ghosts still reside here, and some have taken possession of the clowns in the museum. The clowns have been donated from all corners of the globe, and I believe some carry spiritual attachments that predate their arrival at the museum, like the one I've adopted. After leaving the Clown Motel behind, rock singer, oh, she's a rock singer, all right, Brocard has been on an American adventure with her clown companion. They visited Hollywood and even had a blast in Vegas, but so far the clown doll's behavior has been quite subdued. Oh my God, would I have give to meet, like, I would have taken a picture with her just for sure. I would have, if I saw her, I would have. I was like, aren't you that woman that married that ghost? So far, he's been a peaceful entity, she said. He's often moving on his own, but nothing that would cause me alarm. I'm hoping that doesn't change now I have two ghosts in the house. Guys, what do you think of Brocard and her awesome clown? I'm sorry, her clown is awesome. Wendy goes, I have spirits in my cabin. Matthew goes, jokes are reminding me of a sorcerer with a crystal ball, Ryan Stiles, on Whose Line Is It Anyway joke he made. I see great things for you in the future. I know I have crystal balls. Oh my God, Whose Line Is It Anyway? I used to watch that like religiously. I stopped watching it. Oh my God, every time I would be crying with tears. It was so hilarious. Wendy goes, they don't seem to be malicious. My thing is, I don't mind. I could live with the spirit as long as it's not malicious. Like, if they don't cause me any harm, like, why try to push them out? You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I can coexist with a spirit. If it was like malicious and it was affecting my life, like I couldn't sleep, like it was scratching me, then that's where I would probably be like, okay, I need to do some cleansing or some sort of, I would have to do something. But if they're docile, they're friendly, like, leave them alone. I don't see anything wrong with it. We can coexist. Chris Barber goes, I used to watch the British version of that show. Like I said though, if I saw Brocard, um, walking down the street, I would have definitely have taken a picture with her. I don't know why. Ju just I would see if she would let me interview her. Matthew goes, "It's on Max, but the episodes are out of order and missing some of them too. Would think the people who own the show would have them all and correct." It could be, Matthew, that some of the episodes maybe they don't have the licensing to, which doesn't make any sense because they do have some there, but maybe some of them they don't have the licensing to, or they choose not to put it on there. Wendy goes, "But our stairs to the attic space, I broke my ankle in two spots. Hubby broke his toe. The stairs are a death trap." Ooh, wow. Definitely stay away from that, Wendy. Matthew goes, "They own the whole series? Okay, then that's kind of weird. Maybe they just chose not to put it up. Sometimes they do that. It's kind of weird on how they do it." All right, one more story and we'll get into the ghost ships. I'm kind of not going into any particular order. I'm still like exhausted, so don't mind me. Heather, whatever goes, "My daughter-in-law came in last night and asked to use my bathroom. She pointed to the other one. Something died in there, lingering." What? That is crazy, Heather, whatever. That would have given me chills. Chris Barber suggested probably depends on who they have on the show, maybe. Carol goes, if they don't bother me, I will not bother them. If they are malicious, they need to go, in my opinion." I agree. Carol. Cause why, like I was saying, like why if it isn't broke, then no reason to fix it kind of thing. Saying, you know what I mean? Like if they don't bug me, they can live here with me. I do not care. I honestly don't. Matthew goes, "Our Who's Line it in the US is based on the UK show, which except except for Drew, most of the comedians were on the original." Wendy, "We are going to rework the stairs and tear the old ones out. Just be careful, Wendy, because I know if you start changing things, it's what I heard. I don't know how accurate it is, but it's what I've heard, like what many people have said, like they've started renovating their house and that's when the energy picked up. So just be careful, Wendy, because you could cause more um spirit activity by removing the stairs. Because I've seen a lot of, or I've read a lot, seen and read a lot of articles and stories where people start renovating, and that's when things start to pick up, or when the haunting begin, etc. So just be careful, Wendy, if you do decide to do that. Kyle goes, "Ghosts don't pay rent." Sadly, that's true. They don't. Unless you have a haunted exhibit, then they do. You know what I mean? If you have a haunted exhibit and you are it's your business, then yeah, I would say yes, ghosts do pay rent. Wendy, it's a possibility. Can a staircase be cursed, or they just don't want you going into the attic? Heather, whatever goes, "I think they needed air spray in that bathroom. It was new when we moved in, so no spirits." Ah. All right, Zach Pagans is back in the news. Well, he's back into it twice, but I need to look in the I'm not going to mention the second one because I need to do a little more research on it, but I did see like a reputable site um post it. But this one is, and then we'll get into the ghost ships um right after this article. Carol goes, "Just let them know what you were doing, like asking permission, sort of." True. Wendy goes, we rebuilt half the attic, but with physical injuries. Ooh. So Zach Bagans conjures up a spirit of formal Madam Spooky to Spicy real quick. The new season of Ghost Hunters premiered last week with about skinwalkers. I have yet to see it because I was out of town. I started watching a little bit while I was at camp, but decided I wanted to watch it on the big screen at home, so I have not watched it yet, so I'm a little behind. Zach Bagans is turning up the heat with some paranormal passion because he's been busy conjuring up the spirits of a haunted brothel's former madam, and he says he captured proof she's still plenty saucy. TMZ got a sneak peek at the upcoming Ghost Adventures episode where Zach goes to Odin, Utah brothel and tries to lure its long deceased madam named Rose with a little cold hard cash. But what happens next is a historic and hilarious first for the series. So I think who's laying on the bed is Aaron. If you guys aren't familiar with Ghost Adventures, this is a image using the SLS camera. It kind of shows you stick figures like you see in the photo. If it picks up on any spiritual activity, I would love to have one of these pieces of equipment, but they're super expensive. I think they run like I want to say $3,000 at least. It's probably more than that, maybe 5. Super expensive. But you don't need all that type of equipment because they also suggest that sometimes you are the best piece of equipment when you walk into a building, and your sixth sense, in a way that I believe everyone has a sixth sense. But it is a piece of equipment that I would like to own one day, and it is on my bucket wish list. As you can see, Zach gets comfy on the bed waiting. Oh, it's Zach. That's Zach? That don't look like Zach. Zach gets comfy on the bed waiting for Rose's spirit, but when she quite literally ghosts him, he calls in his fellow paranormal investigator, Aaron, Goodwin, to take his place. I'm assuming this is a picture of Rose. Yes, Rose Davy. Looks like Rose likes her some Aaron. You got to watch the clip to really get this, but Zach and company say the Paranormal Activity went into overdrive. Their XLS camera captures what they say is a human figure at the foot of the bed reaching for the money. Then, all of a sudden, Aaron finds himself in a ghostly embrace as the figure quite literally mounts his body, leaving Zach and the crew giggling like schoolboys behind the camera. I'm going to be laughing when I see this. Zach tells TMZ, I was awkwardly excited to see the movements of the spirit figure, to first see the spirit appear to grab the money, then fully mount my friend while grabbing the headboard, and then completely vanish after the business was done was incredible. We have never captured a scene like this in the history of our show. I will be honest, I am still a little offended that I was turned down initially by the prostitute spirit. Welp, now we know what Rose was into. The full Ghost Adventures encounter goes down May 22nd, which is tomorrow on Discovery Plus. Discovery if you have cable, and Max. Nerd parts in the house. Kyle goes, that lured her. Heather whatever goes, makes sense. Heather whatever's the buddy. Wait, no wallet. No, I think I don't know, because that episode hasn't aired yet. It will air tomorrow. I'm a little behind, so I'm probably going to catch up on the first episode first, and then watch that one, and I will let you know. I'm probably going to be laughing. I'm going to be laughing. That's Tammy, what is up about that episode? He is also in the news for something else, but I need to do a little research because I'm a little skeptical about it, but I will let you know. I will share it once I get a little more information on it. Allegedly an ex-employee of his haunted museum has spilled the beans, but I need to do a little more research on that. And because I've only seen I saw a Reddit response to it, and I did see one like reputable like it was a horror site had said something about it, but I just want to do a little more research. Carol goes, I know I'll be laughing when I watch that one. Wendy goes, if I sage now, will that help? It might, Wendy. It might, but I'm not sure. It depends on how, because if you broke your ankle in 2 places and your hubby broke his toe it might be a super strong um presence. So maybe the sage might even piss it off, if you know what I mean. So, but I have a feeling it's something that doesn't want you in the attic and it's preventing you from going into the attic. That's what it sounds like to me, cuz why would you get those injuries while you're walking while going up to the attic, if you know what I mean? So that kind of makes it a little suspicious, cuz you don't know what you're dealing with, Wendy. So just be careful. And then if you tear down the stairs, that might make it even worse, if you know what I mean. By what I've seen and by what I've seen and read, because I've never experienced like that, so I can't see it off of experience. When he goes, I think the attic space is bad. It might be. It could, and you also did say that you renovated the attic. That could have made it worse too, as well. Because I know spirits don't like change, and it's kind of like because what I have read, because like I said, I've never experienced anything like that, but they kind of live they kind of like the space as if they were living in that space at the time that they were alive. So if you change something, it kind of upsets them and disrupts them. All right, we are now going to get into the main topic. I did a little different. Usually I start off with the main topic, but I got carried away with the pineapples and broke hard. Maybe let them know you mean no harm, Wendy, but we made it a beautiful space. Let them know what your intentions are, maybe they will understand. I am not sure. I'm not 100% sure. So this is inside the 15 most frightening stories of ghost ships from history. Thought this was kind of interesting. Wendy's asking, how do I let them know? Just talk. Just go into your cabin and talk. Saying you mean no harm. That's what I do when I know it sounds kind of crazy when I go through when I pass by cemeteries. It's just something, I don't know where it came from. I would say no hitchhikers, but I just say you guys are welcome to say hi. Just don't follow me home. No hitchhiking, and don't scare the crap out of me because I'm driving. But you're able to say hi to me. But it's weird because when I drive by a cemetery, or this particular cemetery, I feel peace. So I feel like everyone's peaceful. Like they're at peace at that cemetery, which is weird. Over the centuries, numerous vessels have been found floating on the high seas without a crew. Here are some of the most disturbing cases. I've always found ghost ships scary. I always found them creepy. There's just something about a ghost ship. Like I always pictured like what's on the cover photo of this video, actually. Like this old torn down pirate ship with the fog and it just floating there, and you can like the emptiness to it. It seems it's like super creepy to me. Throughout maritime history, sailors have reported sightings of ghost ships with eerily similar details, empty vessels appearing out of the blue with no one aboard and no sign of what happened to the crew. These ships travel unmanned across the seas, reminding mariners who witness their silent journeys of the many dangers of open waters. These ghost ships are an integral part of seafarers' lore. But while some stories of these vessels are simply urban legends, there are several real ghost ships that have been spotted drifting across the ocean. And now that I keep hearing ghost ship, it reminds me of the movie Ghost Ship. and that Mudvayne song that you could hear playing throughout the movie. And if you guys have never seen Ghost Ship, check out the opening scene. It is epic. I mean, it's probably one of the movies next to Blade that has an awesome opening scene. Well, Blade, it's not really the opening scene because in Blade we're watching him being born, and then it goes into the club. The club part's epic, but next to Blade, Ghost Ship has an epic opening scene. So if you ever want to just check out the opening scene, search it here on YouTube. Carol Smart goes, I like that movie. So do I. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. From Mary Celeste to the SS Chimo, here are some of the most mysterious and bizarre ghost ships from history. The infamous ghost ship Mary Celeste. So this is kind of a rendering photo of the Mary Celeste. It does look like a pirate ship, or what we consider a pirate ship to look like. On November 7th, 1872, the American vessel Mary Celeste set out on a voyage from New York City to Genova, Italy. The people aboard included Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife and 2-year-old daughter, and 7 crewmen. The ship's last entry placed the vessel near the Azores Islands, located about 1,000 miles west of mainland Portugal, on November 25th. Then, on December 5th, Captain David Morehouse of the British brig De Gratia discovered the Mary Celeste abandoned 400 miles east of the Azores. Morehouse sent his men to investigate, and they soon discovered that the entire crew was missing, along with a lifeboat. Eerily, nearly everything seemed to be in good order on the ship, aside from disassembled pumps. The crewmen's belongings and a 6-month supply of food and water remained in the vessel. Everyone's clothing was neatly packed away. Though there was about 3 feet of water in the ship's hull, the vessel was still seaworthy and did not suffer any serious damage. The Mary Celeste was in good enough shape that the Captain Morehouse was about to take it to Gibraltar. There, he informed British authorities about the missing crew. Despite an investigation, the crew was never found, and a court declared that it did not suspect foul play. In the following years, the story of the ghost ship Mary Celeste became legendary. Theories about what happened to the 10 missing passengers ranged from mutiny to wrathful sea monsters. I don't know about you, but if with the case of Mary Celeste, it seems like, because they left all their food and belonging, it seems like they took, the side ship, or not side ship, the boat, to check out their surroundings. And maybe it could have been tribal people. Maybe they came across cannibals. You never know. Maybe a swell capsized them while they were going to, because I don't know if they found the ship in the middle of nowhere, or if there was like land around it. So my thing is, I think they probably got off the ship to explore, and maybe they came across a tribe. Maybe they came across a swell took out their boat. You never know. Kyle goes, is it Titanic to a B-grade horror movie? Chris Barber goes, you might just lose your head. Joanne goes, Peruvian miners? Could be a number of things. Because to me, it sounds like they just went off the boat to explore and they were going to return, and they never made it back. Despite an investigation, the crew was never found, and court declared that it did not suspect foul play. In the following years, the story of the ghost ship Mary Celeste became legendary. Theories about what happened to the 10 missing passengers ranged from mutiny to wrathful sea monsters. In 2002, documentarian Anne McGregor and oceanographer Phil Richardson attempted to solve the mystery themselves. Using the data in the captain's log, the two researchers postulated that Captain Briggs had misidentified his location by more than 1,000 miles. Additionally, they learned that the ship had apparently faced rough seas and wind shortly before the last log entry. A disembodied assembled. Oh my god, disembodied. Disassembled. Sorry guys, I'm tired. Disassembled pump found on the ship led the researchers to believe that Captain Briggs was worried about the amount of seawater in the ship's hull. For a captain responsible for the lives of his crew and his family, he possibly made the ill-informed call to abandon the ship out of the fear that it was sinking. And then he possibly maybe didn't make it to shore. Not necessarily and they didn't make it. Joanne goes, sea monsters would have destroyed the ship. I agree with you, Joanne. I feel like maybe on their way out of the ship to go to wherever they wanted to go to find help. That because now I'm finishing the article, that particular story. I feel like what I agree with them. They probably thought it was sinking, even though it wasn't, because it was taking on water. And they probably decided to abandon the ship. And maybe as they were abandoning the ship to find help is when they either maybe a huge swell capsized them or like I said, I still want to say cannibalist or tribes or something. The mystery of the ghost ship MV Joida. The MV Joida. So this is a picture of the MV Joida. It was found adrift and abandoned in the South Pacific in 1955. The MV Joida was an American merchant vessel built in 1931. The U.S. Navy acquired the ship during World War II and later sold it to a private owner. The vessel changed hands a number of times, and its last captain would be a British sailor named Thomas H. Dusty Miller, who was living in Samoa. On October 3rd of 1955, the MV Joida sailed from Samoa en route to the Tokelau Islands, an island territory of New Zealand. At the time of the vessel's departure, the MV Joida carried 16 crew members and 9 passengers. Click off that ad. Though just one of the ship's engines were running properly, the crew felt the voyage would be safe given that it was supposed to be a 2-day trip. When the ship failed to arrive on time, authorities became very concerned, although they had received a distress signal from the vessel. The Royal New Zealand Air Force patrolled the waters in case the ship was in peril. Weeks later, on November 10th, a merchant ship traveling to the Funafuti atoll stumbled upon a drifting ship tipped very heavily to one side. When the captain called out to the vessel, there was no response, alarming the crew. So this is the Joida. Though the ghost ship Joida was in poor conditions, it was extremely buoyant, and it was unlikely that it could sink. Kyle goes, cannibals always get such a bad rap. Joanne goes, stuff would have washed up on shore. We don't know, Joanne, because they didn't tell us the whole story. You know what I mean? They just kind of gave us the story about the ghost ship and didn't they kind of just stopped there. It didn't kind of evolve to tell us if anything was found. So we never know. Maybe maybe stuff was found. Chris Barber goes, it was the Meg. Heather whatever goes, they were some cannibals Happy Meal and they threw the box back in the sea. Heather whatever, thank you for that PayPal. Wish it was more. You're worth it. Thank you, Heather whatever. I appreciate it. Hearts for Heather whatever, guys. You're awesome, Heather whatever. Just making sure I didn't forget anybody else. An initial investigation of the boat, which turned out to be the MV Joida, about 600 miles off course, found that it was empty. No passengers were aboard, and most of the cargo was missing. The lifeboats were also gone. Chillingly, the window of the deckhouse were broken and bloody bandages were discovered on the deck. The vessel's faulty radio was set to 2182 kilohertz, an internal marine distress radio frequency. An official investigation found that a faulty pipe allowed water to enter the ship's hull, likely causing panic among the people on board. But officials could not understand why the captain would decide to abandon ship given the vessel's extreme buoyancy. Despite the MV Joyita's poor conditions, it was still afloat even after weeks adrift at sea. In contrast, the lifeboat on the boat were questionable at best. So why did everyone leave? Countless theories emerged as to what caused the MV Joyita to become a ghost ship, including a pirate's attack, a mutiny, and even supernatural forces, but authorities have never been able to confirm what exactly happened. Guys, what do you think happened to the MV Joyita? So this is another ship that it took on water, but there's no reason for them to abandon it because this ship had a buoyancy, like they knew it wouldn't sink, like possibility. But they did find bloody bandages inside. So obviously maybe someone got hurt and they went to look for help and they disappeared, got maybe stuck on a distant land. Heather, whatever, we've heard of that unsinkable business before. This time it was true. Yes, exactly. Kyle says zombinism. They could have got stranded. I didn't think of this too. They could have got stranded on an island and no one found them. So they could have just lived the rest of their life on the island and they were in survival mode. It could have been just that and no one found them. Or cannibalisms. Or cannibalists. I mean, a lot of these islands do have tribes that are kind of isolated from society that so I totally believe that that's a possibility. Or they got on the bad side of a tribe and they probably thought, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you were in a tribe that had never seen a white man before. I'm gonna say that, and you come across a white man, wouldn't you treat them like a god though, kind of, because it's something like out of the ordinary that you have never seen? So I would feel like maybe they would take that either as a blessing or as them being the devil, or evil, not devil, evil. But then they could also had bad storms and they could have thought these are the people that are the bearer of these bad storms and why our crops are dying too. So Joanne goes cannibals growing cannabis. So the disaster that struck the Ryu Un Maru. The story of the Ryu Un Maru is unlike those of other ghost ships. It was not carrying crew members or other passengers at the time of its demise. Instead, it was an empty fishing boat pushed out to sea by the powerful earthquake and tsunami that hit northeast Japan in March of 2011. I don't know, whenever I say tsunami, I want to say tsunami. The Ryu Un Maru was created around 1982 for a Hokkaido-based fishing company. It served for decades as a shrimping boat before it became too old to use. The company retired it to Honshu and put it up for sale before the devastating 2011 earthquake and tsunami struck Japan. The disaster cast the vessel out into the Pacific, where it drifted for months. However, its owners strongly believed that it had sank during the disaster, and so the boat's registration was canceled. But then, about a year later, the unmanned vessel was spotted by the Canadian Coast Guard. By April of 2012, the Ryu Un Maru had entered U.S. waters near Alaska. The U.S. Coast Guard soon began tracking the ship. Ultimately, the U.S. Coast Guard decided to sink the ghost ship to avoid having it run around or causing navigational hazard. The Ryu Maru now rests on the seafloor of the Gulf of Alaska. So they don't know what happened to that one, and they just decided to sink it. Heather, whatever goes in the storm, they would take the sails down. In sailing class, we had learned to life a boat if it went down, little sailboats, but we had to put life vest on the top of the mast. They would say ghosts. Chris Barber goes, they would probably think humans, the new white meat. I don't know. I feel like the Ryu Maru is not as mysterious as the other boats. It just was like the Coast Guard just destroyed it or just sunk it. And there really wasn't much of a story with that. It was just an unmanned ship. The icy story of the HMS Resolute. So this is an illustration of the HMS Resolute. Resolute, a British ship that became trapped in Arctic ice in the mid-19th century. The British Royal Navy first commissioned the HMS Resolute to search for the lost Franklin expedition. What is the Franklin expedition? Oh, I may click on that after this. I may click on the Franklin expedition after I finish this article. 2 British ships that had gone missing in the Arctic in the 1840s while searching for the Northwest Passage. Considering the grim circumstances, officials specifically outfitted the new vessels to withstand the brutal conditions of the Arctic. The HMS Resolute was officially launched in 1850, and the crew ended up discovering minor clues as to where the Franklin expedition had gone. The Resolute then returned safely to Britain. Sir Edward Belcher commanded the ship's next voyage to the Arctic. This time, the orders were to find Sir John Franklin or figure out his fate. In 1852, the Resolute departed from Britain and arrived in the Arctic a few months later. Though there were other ships included, in this expedition, the Resolute went the farthest west, traveling all the way to Delay Island, which is located in what is now part of Nunavut, Canada. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. According to the U.S. Naval Institute, the Resolute was driven away from its base at Delay Island in August of 1853 during a storm. Ice floes began moving along with the ship, and the vessel soon became trapped in the ice. As the months passed, the ship crew realized that the vessel wouldn't be freed from the ice anytime soon. But May of 1854, the men had abandoned the Resolute and was a perilous journey on foot across the ice to find the other ships in their expedition. Fortunately, they did. Later in September of 1855, the crew of the American whaler George Henry rediscovered the abandoned Resolute just outside of Baffin's Bay, about 1,200 miles away from where the crew abandoned it. The U.S. government paid $40,000 for the vessel, restored it to its original condition, and presented it to Queen Victoria as an act of goodwill in 1856. The Resolute was later broken up in 1879, and the British government decided to create desks from the timbers. Interestingly enough, one of those desks ended up being gifted to U.S. President Rutherford B. Hayes, the Resolute desk, which remains in the Oval Office today. So I guess this desk right here is a piece of the SMS Resolute, which is kind of cool. That sits in the Oval Office. Matthew goes, yes, to Northwest Passage. I know that because of Due South. Project Metal Music goes, Lisa, you'll like the Franklin expedition? Okay, I'm definitely going to read it. Because it had a hyperlink on it, and it clicked to another article when I'm finished with this article. Oops. A taxiing situation for the ghost ship's Bell Amica. If I have time to read that article, we'll see here. In August of 2006, the Italian Coast Guard discovered the unmanned schooner Bell Amica just off the coast of Sardinia, Italy. The vessel appeared to have been hastily abandoned by its crew with only some food, maps, and clothes left on board, indicating that it had once been occupied. The ship's owner had apparently not registered yet, and the vessel's only identification was found on a plaque that bore the words Bell Amica, likely a misspelling of the phrase for a beautiful friend in Italian. Eventually, Italian authorities identified Frank Royrux, a man from Luxembourg, as the owner of the ghost ship. Royrux, hopefully, pardon me if I'm butchering his name, claimed that he anchored the vessel after leaving about an emergency at home. Though Royrux insisted that he'd intended to return to the empty vessel, authorities were skeptical of his story. The Italian media speculated that Royrux abandoned the ship because he wanted to avoid paying the steep taxes that came along with owning a luxury boat. Thank you, Wendy. Carol goes, they told a little of this story on the movie National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. Oh, cool. The mystery of the Carol A. Deering. The American schooner Carol A. Deering was built in 1919 and is a commercial vessel. The ship was only in operation for a couple of years before a mysterious incident on board forced it into early retirement. In August of 1920, Captain William Merritt set off on the schooner with a crew of 10 men to drop off coal in Brazil, but he soon fell seriously ill and needed to turn back. Merritt's son, the first mate, left with his father. The two men were soon replaced with Willis B. Wormel, who took on the role of the captain even though he was retired, and Charles B. McClellan, who became the first mate. They successfully delivered the cargo in Brazil, but it was clear that Wormel and McClellan hated each other. Later, in early January of 1921, when the crew made a stop in Barbados, McClellan became drunk and ominously said, "I'll get the captain before we get to Norfolk." "I will," reportedly. He already threatened to kill Wormel. Around January 9th of 1921, the crew started heading back to the U.S. and eventually traveled toward North Carolina, near Cape Lookout Shoals. On January 29th, Cape Lookout Shoals lightship vessel 80 spotted the Carol A. Deeringer on the water. The lightship's master, Thomas Jacobson, reported that a red-haired man with a Scandinavian accent hailed him. That alone wasn't unusual, as most of the men in the crew were Danish. So this is one of the last images of the Carol A. Deering before the crew vanished. But Jacobson said that the Scandinavian man didn't look or act or speak like either the master or an officer. The man also claimed to Jacobson that the Carol A. Deering lost its anchors and chains and that the owners of the vessel needed to be contacted. In addition, Jacobson noticed that the crew was standing on the quarterdeck, an area usually occupied by the captain. This was the last sighting of the vessel on the water. On January 31st, the Coast Guard Beach Patrol saw the Carol A. Deering run around off Cape Hatteras and the Outer Banks. Because of bad weather, rescue boats could not inspect the vessel until February 4th. It was clear that the crew had abandoned the vessel and that it was in bad shape. The ship's lifeboats, navigational equipment, and chronometer were all missing. The kitchen showed signs of recent cooking. Strangely, there was also a 6-toed cat, the only living thing found aboard the vessel. The federal government opened an investigation, but its results were inconclusive. Several theories had emerged over the years, including hurricanes, piracy, communists, and even the Bermuda Triangle. However, the most likely explanation may be mutiny, as the captain and first mate despised each other, followed by the crew making an ill-fated escape after the ship ran around. Still, the full truth of what really happened on the Carol A. Deering is up to speculation. Lisa Boo goes, 6-footed cats are cool. Kyle's like, dun dun dun. Chris Barber goes, rut row. Matthew goes, end of due south. They took off to the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin. The haunting story of the Kaz 2. On April 15, 2007, 3 middle-aged men boarded the catamaran Cats 2, which is pictured above, in Arley Beach, Queensland, Australia. The men, Des Batten and brothers Peter and John Tunstead, had an 8-week-long journey ahead of them to get back to the city of Perth, where they lived. But just 3 days later, the yacht was found adrift near the Whitsunday Islands. The next day, emergency management Queensland crewman Corey Benson was able to board the ship and found it unoccupied. Strangely, the engine was still running, nothing seemed to be missing from the vessel, and a table even appeared to be set for dinner. There was a ripped sail, and there were some stray items on the floor. However, authorities who searched the ghost ship found no signs of foul play. Search and rescue operations immediately began looking for the men, but they could find no signs of them anywhere near the vessel. Though theories soon emerged that the men had been attacked by pirates or drug smugglers, or that they had even faked their own deaths. I was going to say that they faked their own deaths, but not for insurance purposes. A coroner in Townsville, Queensland, who investigated the case, believes that the men died in a tragic freak accident. I was thinking not that they disappeared because they didn't want to be found. According to The Guardian, coroner Michael Barnes' theory proposes that one man, perhaps one of the Tunstead brothers, accidentally fell overboard and the other brother tried to save him. As the other man, Batten, tried to maneuver the boat and rescue his friends, he accidentally fell overboard too. Once the 3 men were in the water, there were very little chances that could get back on the boat, Burns said. It would be beyond their reach in seconds. From that point, the end would have been swift. Project Metal music goes in due south. The actor Callum Keith Rennie, he is originally from Sunderland, my home city, before he moved to Canada. Oh, cool. The perpetually sailing SS Bechimo. First launched in 1914, the SS Bechimo was initially used as a Germany's Baltic post during World War I. After the war ended, the ships was given to the British government as part of the Germany war re-preparations. The British fitted the SS Bechimo to journey to northern Canada for the Hudson Bay Company. The ship's main role included collecting furs to bring back to Europe. But in late September, I don't know where 18 came from, 1931, the vessel became trapped and packed ice on its way back to Europe. In early October, the crew began disassembling parts of the ship, convinced that the vessel would need to stay put for the rest of the winter. Most of the crew members were soon picked up by an aircraft, while a few others found shelter for the winter and planned to stay near the ship. However, in November, a blizzard struck the area and the SS Bechimo disappeared. The remaining crew members all assumed it sank. But just a week later, local trappers spotted the vessel about 70 miles from the crew's shelter. The crew found the ship but were unable to board because of broken ice in the area, according to the Anchorage Daily News. When the crew tried to board it at a later time, they found that the ship had disappeared once again. This was not the last time that something like this would happen. Fortunately, the remaining crew members were picked up by February of 1932, so the ghost ship was no longer their concern. Strangely enough, over the next few decades, several eyewitness reports of the SS Bechimo came to light. The last of these reports came in 1969 from a group of Inupiat people about 38 years after the ship's abandonment. In 2006, the Alaskan government organized efforts to identify the whereabouts of the ghost ship, but the vessel still has yet to be found. So this vessel is still missing. Chris Barber goes, "You're going to need a bigger boat." Heather whatever goes, "Pirates." Heather whatever also says, "That's right. A guy from Southern California sailed off and I think faked his death. If I remember it right, in the 90s or early 2000s." I don't remember that, Heather whatever. But I felt like that just popped in my head while I was reading this, because I felt like that's maybe what these people are doing. Not on these big ships, but like on that catamaran. I felt like, well, maybe these guys didn't want to be found. Maybe they just didn't like who they were, and they just wanted to disappear, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And not be bothered, type of thing. So they just disappeared. The ghost ship SS Orang Medan and its terror-stricken crew. I had talked about this ship in a previous stream. The tale of the SS Orang Medan is unlike those of other ghost ships. For one, historians are unsure if it ever existed. The legend of the vessel first emerged in the 40s when stories circulated in various newspapers around the world about a mysterious ship that had been discovered in the Strait of Malacca, near modern-day Indonesia. The specific details of the story vary depending on the source, but a popular version claims that another nearby ship picked up a disturbing SOS message from the Orang Medan. "We float, all officers, including captain, dead in chart room, and one on the bridge, probably whole of crew dead. I die." An American vessel called the Silver Star investigated the distress call, and when the rescue happened upon the Orang Medan, they found the entire crew dead on the ship under bizarre circumstances. Chillingly, everyone's faces were reported frozen in terror, even the dog's face. Even more shocking, when the Silver Star tried to tow the Orang Medan to port, the vessel allegedly caught fire and then exploded before the rescuers' eyes. Stunned, they watched in horror as the destroyed ship sank. But as bone-chilling as the story is, no official records of the Orang Medan has ever been found. Furthermore, no evidence of a shipwreck like that one has been located in the Strait of Malacca or anywhere else. It is possible that this story is nothing more than a myth. However, it's a legend that endured for decades, and it's inspired countless theories as to what happened to the doomed sailors if they really existed. Some accounts suggested that if the ship was real, it may have been carrying dangerous materials like potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin during the right after World War II, which led to both the deaths of and the explosion. The SS Valencia and its path toward collision. Originally constructed in 1882, the SS Valencia was a passenger steamer vessel built to travel between New York City and Venezuela. But in January of 1906, the vessel was journeying between San Francisco and Seattle, taking over the route of another ship that was undergoing repairs. On January 21st, the SS Valencia was traveling with 108 passengers and 65 crew members when it hit a patch of bad weather near Cape Mendocino. The ship's crewmen were unable to accurately pinpoint their location, causing the ship to drift into a reef on the night of January 22nd. The impact ripped through its hull, filling it with water. The captain ordered the crew members to lower 6 lifeboats, but didn't give the order to abandon ship. Amidst the panic and confusion on board, however, people began boarding the lifeboats anyway. 3 were improperly manned, and the people in them ended up drowning. Of the 3 that were properly launched, 1 disappeared and the other 2 capsized. A number of crew members were unable to safely evacuate and successfully abandon ship. They later found their way to the Cape Beale light stations, where they told the keeper what happened. Tragically, most aboard the ship died and only 37 people survived. Media outlets reported it as the worst maritime disaster in the graveyard of the Pacific, the area of Vancouver Island where the vessel hit the reef. Curiously, in 1933, about 27 years after the disaster, authorities discovered the missing lifeboat in Berkeley Sound in surprisingly good condition. However, there was no sign of the passengers who had used it to escape. According to legend, local fishermen reported seeing the SS Valencia missing lifeboat being rowed by skeletons in the years following the disaster. Similar stories came from sailors on other vessels reporting that they saw the ghost ship of the SS Valencia with its deck manned by skeletons. Kyle goes, only a few hours from here then. Did it give a picture? Yes, this is the picture of the SS Valencia. Almost looks like a mini Titanic. It does, like a smaller Titanic because of the color scheme in this black and white photo. Only because it's black and white, because we can't really see the picture, the color. The mysterious wartime disappearance on the ghost ship SV Zabrina. So this is a picture of the SV Zabrina, which was found without its crew in 1917. It's no secret that sailing during wartime comes with dangers. During World War I, German U-boats sank about 5,000 ships that belonged to the Allies. In the case of the SV Zabrina, a British schooner originally built to travel to South America and transport products there, German U-boats may have been responsible for the incident that occurred in October of 1917. At that point in time, the Zabrina had been reported for shorter trade trips around Europe. The ship's captain and his crew of 5 were supposed to journey from Falmouth, England, to Cherbourg, France, to drop off some coal. But 2 days after the vessel took off, it was discovered to have run around in Roselle Point, which was south of Cherbourg. Surprisingly, the ship itself was in good condition, but the crew was missing. Puzzled by the scene, authorities in France initially believed that a German U-boat had attacked the vessel. After all, Europe was embroiled in a deadly conflict, and all ships on the water were potential targets. Theories emerged that the crew members had abandoned the Zabrina after being fired upon by a U-boat, and then later went missing in their lifeboat, leaving the Zabrina a ghost ship. But other theories suggested that the crew member had actually been kidnapped by the Germans. However, after the war was over, German officials stated that there was no record of an attack on the boat. Furthermore, it was unlikely that the Zabrina would be in such good condition following an attack, and there were also valuable cargo left on board. Germans maintained that the Zabrina case was just as mysterious to them as it was to the Allies. A later theory suggested that the crew of the Zabrina was not attacked by an enemy ship at all, but that they instead accidentally fell overboard during a squall, leaving the ship to drift and eventually run around. All right, I'm going to read one more. One more ship, and then we'll go on to another. I'll probably keep the Franklin expedition for a next stream. But we'll go on because I do have some other articles I can share, because this is a super long article. A mental breakdown at sea and the end of the Tangmouth election. The tragic story of the Tangmouth electron begins and ends with Donald Crowhurst, a British businessman and amateur sailor. In 1968, Crowhurst decided to compete in the Golden Globe race, a non-stop solitary yacht race across the globe. His vessel, the Tangmouth Electron, was specifically designed for this purpose, and he hoped to win. Unfortunately, Crowhurst's voyage was plagued with problems from the start. His vessel even started taking on water, but instead of returning home to admit defeat and face financial ruin, as he had staked nearly everything on the race, Crowhurst began fabricating data on how far he traveled. Crowhurst likely assumed that he would finish the race in last place, meaning that no one would take a close look at his phony data. But as the months went on, he learned that other sailors had dropped out of the race, or that their vessels had begun to sink and they had to be rescued. According to The Guardian, Crowhurst seemed poised to take the prize of the fastest circumnavigation meaning that his data would be analyzed closely and that his deception would likely be revealed. By the spring of 1969, Crowhurst's mental health had begun to deteriorate, partly due to being alone on the waters for so long and partly due to the fact that his fabrications were about to come to light. In June of 1969, he had a complete mental breakdown and penned a 25,000-word manifesto about transcendence and the nature of the cosmos. Then, on July 10th of 1969, the Royal Mail shipped Picardy discovered the Tenmouth Electron drifting in the mid-Atlantic. The vessel was unmanned and it appeared that it had been abandoned several days before. Crowhurst's logbook, his falsified data, and his bizarre manifesto were soon discovered, painting a chilling picture of his final days. It's assumed that he died by S, but his body was never recovered. Lisa Boo goes, that will be a cool one. All right, guys, what did you think of these ghost ships and these strange stories that came about it with it? I think they're kind of interesting because they're unexplained, but I feel like I still want to say maybe these people did not want to be found, and that's the reason why they abandoned their ship. Like the newer ones, not the older ships. The older ships, I feel like something did happen to them. Like they came across. I'm gonna always say cannibalists or some indigenous tribe, or they might have just gotten lost on an island and no one ever found them. Lisa Boo goes, I loved hearing about them. Project Metal Music goes, loved it. The Maritime stuff. Oh, thank you guys. Carol goes, a few of them I heard of and some I haven't, but they are still cool. I always find them fascinating because it's interesting to hear about these ships and what people think happened to them. We will never know. Unfortunately, we will never know the truth because only the people that were on those ships would know the truth. But unfortunately, they disappeared. Unless their spirit is restless somewhere and they actually did die, and that's the only way we will, figure out what happened, honestly. But other than that, there will always be a mystery concerning these ships. Heather Ryder goes, like Rosie Ruiz, who cheated the 1980 Boston Marathon. No one saw her on the race except the end. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Unfortunately, the last guy, he went crazy basically because of just being isolated. Heather whatever goes, I like this. I did too. I like the fact that they found a boat with just skeletons in it. I did like that one too. I don't know how reputable this website is for my next article. I have never heard of it, but I clicked the wrong button. I've never heard of this site, so I don't know how reputable this is. But Courtney Cox, she claims that the late Matthew Perry ghost visitors, which I think is sweet. I don't see it as a bad thing. I think it's sweet. Courtney Cox is visited by late Friends co-star Matthew Perry a lot. The 59-year-old actress who played Perry's character, isn't it Chandler Bing's lover Monica Geller, because I never watched Friends, so I apologize, on the iconic sitcom for a decade has revealed she feels her dear friend's presence often and likes to believe all those she has lost are guiding her. Speaking on CBS Sunday Morning, she said, I'm so thankful I got to work so closely with him for so many years. He visits me a lot, if we believe in that. I talked to my mom, my dad, Matthew. I feel like there are a lot of people that I think guide us. I sense Matthew's around for sure. Perry died of the acute effects of ketamine at the age of 54 in October when he was found dead at his home in Los Angeles. The autopsy report also listed drowning, coronary artery disease, and buprenorphine effects as contributing factors in the actor's death. Perry was on ketamine infusion therapy according to the autopsy, and his last treatment took place just 1.5 weeks prior to his death. The beloved actor and advocate for substance abuse treatment, who was found dead in a residential pool, suffered from drug and alcohol addiction, and buprenorphine is a medication that is used to treat opioid use disorder. That's a tongue twister. Perry's Friends co-star also include Jennifer Aniston, who played Rachel, Lisa Kudrow, who played Phoebe, Matt LeBlanc, who played Joey, and David Schwimmer, who played Ross, issued a joint statement shortly after the actor passed away, admitting that they were devastated by the news. They said, at the time, we are all so utterly devastated by the loss of Matthew. We were more than just classmates. We are family. There's so much to say, but right now we're going to take a moment to grieve and process the unfathomable loss. In time, we will say more and when we are able. For now, our thoughts and love are with Maddie's family, his friends, and everyone who loved him around the world. Perry was laid to rest in the Forest Lawn Cemetery in Los Angeles in November. I find that a sweet that she can feel his presence. Brandon goes, oh, I saw that article. Brandon, what's up? I think that's sweet. I do believe that our loved ones do visit us and watch over us. And they visit us to tell us that they are okay. And I feel like this is no different. And the Friends cast, I'm sure, we're like, as the article said, we're a family. So, and I'm pretty sure they were very close, because I heard working on a sitcom, you have to work 17 hours. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It's just something I heard. You work long hours. So eventually the people you work with become your friends or your enemies, one of the two. But you become family at the end of it. So I do believe that he is visiting her and making sure she's okay and letting her know that he's okay. All right, we'll do one more article and I'll open it up for questions. I do apologize again, guys. I'm exhausted, so I'm not that chipper self that I usually am. Heather Wetter goes, yes, I cheered him on silently through the years, wanted him to survive it. So if you guys are from West Virginia or know anybody in West Virginia, West Virginia leads the nation in paranormal searches, study finds. Interest in ghosts and the paranormal is very high in West Virginia. A study by Jeff Bett found that West Virginia has the most searches about the paranormal. What? Every month, there are 403 searches per 100,000 people in the state. The number is much higher than the national average of 241 searches. I had no idea that they actually researched how many people searched the paranormal. In West Virginia, so they're basically saying in West Virginia, people are like super interested in the paranormal. Jennifer Marie goes, they really believe in West Virginia. In West Virginia, popular search terms include spirit box, ghost hunting, and cold spots. Alaska ranks second in paranormal interest with 326 searches per 100,000 people. Colorado is third with 305 searches. Oregon and Nevada follow closely behind. On the other hand, Mississippi shows the least interest in ghost hunting. It has only 161 searches per 100,000 people, which is 47% below the national average. New Jersey and Louisiana also have low numbers with 178 and 194 searches per 100,000 people, respectively. Across the country, popular search terms for paranormal activities are Ouija boards and spirit box. Many people are curious about the ways to communicate with the paranormal. Other common searches include poltergeist hunting, poltergeist hunting, best thermal cameras for ghost hunting, and demon hunting equipment. These findings highlight the big difference in paranormal interest from state to state. They didn't mention California. How dare them? But I guess they're saying Mississippi, they don't believe in that shit. No. So, but if you're in West Virginia, you're considered the top nation in paranormal searching. Jeffrey goes, California is too self-absorbed. True. All right, guys, I am going to open it up for questions and questions. If you guys have any questions or topics that you want to bring up, doesn't necessarily have to be paranormal related. Kyle goes, no one wants to hunt for the Jersey Devil. I guess not. But I don't think I would want to. So I kind of agree with no one wants to hunt for the Jersey Devil. So if you guys have any questions, comments, criticisms, I will share the Franklin's the Franklin expedition on my next stream, because it sounds super cool what I see of the and I'll save this link because it involves cannibalism, which I have been saying about all the ghost ships. That some of these people either they ended up on some long distant island and met their met their fate with a bunch of cannibalists, or they didn't make it to the island and something before the island took out their boat, or the people just wanted to disappear. Jennifer Marie goes, gross. Project Metal Music goes, Lisa, would you do a folklore stream? Yeah, I have. Project Metal Music, actually. In the past, I have. I've done, I love folklore, so I'll talk about it. Yes, I would. I've done Asian folklore. I've done folklore around the world. I talked about the Kraken, which I had no idea was a lore story. I just always thought it was something out of the movie. I didn't think it was an actual story. You know, it never dawned on me that it was an actual story, and I found that kind of interesting too. But yeah, I will do folklore streams. If I can find some more folklore, I will definitely do it. I do a lot of Native American folklore because I love Native American lore. That is actually the one thing. Even as a kid, I was always interested in Native American stories and beliefs. It was the one thing. It was actually the one thing I was always drawn to more than which would sound weird because I don't have a Native American background, but I've always been drawn to it since I was young. Keep the questions coming, guys. Heather, whatever goes, those pesky cannibals. Exactly. They are. Give me a second, guys. Just making sure I don't forget anybody. No, I didn't. All right. Project Metal Music, cool. I'll send you a story over of a 12th century tale of my home city, which you might find. Yeah, go for it, Project Metal Music. I love stories like that. Yes, please. Jennifer Marie goes, been working out while listening and just realized Skeleduck is just out here tonight. Yes, he is. He is out in the open. And for those of you that did not pay attention, David saying I still have until September to renew my amateur radio license. I did not know it was expiring. I'm not sure how you know that. That's kind of freaky. I don't know when might expire, so I don't know how you know. That kind of freaked me out a bit. I'm sorry. Skeleduck, anyways. Skeleduck is basically right behind me. He's right there. I can't think today, so I just kind of put him out in the open right there. He's right there saying hi to everybody. David goes, I pay attention. David goes, it expired in 2022. Jennifer Marie, thank you for that super chat. Want a ghost hunt at the Queen Mary when I'm in town next month? Sure. When are you going to be in town? Hopefully I'll be able to do it. But yeah, I'm down for it, Jennifer Marie. Hearts for Jennifer Marie. Thank you. So my license expired in 2022. All right, I'll check it out, David. I haven't been paying attention. June 23rd to 29th. All right, Jennifer. We'll see. David goes, you mentioned your license a few months ago. Ah, okay. I know my dad renewed it one time, but I don't know when I needed to renew it. But thank you, David. I'll look into it so I can keep it. I mean, I don't really use it, but I know I should keep it. David goes, there is a 2-year grace period. All right, I'll look into it. I'll remind myself to look into it. Heather, whatever. I am not sure how much it is, to be honest with you. I don't. I have to look it up. I really do. Renewals are free. Okay, that sounds even better. Thank you, Lisa Boo. Heather, whatever goes special to carry it forward for your dad. Definitely. Heather, whatever. Guys, keep the questions going. I'll be on for a few more minutes. And then I'm probably going to take a nap. Thank you, Joanne. Give me a second, guys. I'm looking up something. Keep the questions going, guys. No, it's not connected to the DMV. No, I need to take another nap for sure. I'm going to do a few things and then take a nap. Or I might even just go to bed early. Forget that. Shamanistic Unicorn Tam, what is up? I know, Heather, whatever. It's they would never have anything free at the DMV. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? Heather, whatever goes, maybe another solar thing? It could be. Thank you, Carol. All right, guys, I am going to end the stream. Thank you for joining me. I survived. No, just kidding. Thank you for joining me. My next stream will be Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared, stay spooky and sweet nightmares, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Good night, guys. You guys are awesome.